Hey everyone, I'm Tassinix, and welcome to a Plotting and Scheming Extra. I'm here with the team to do a character kit review on Jocasta New, the new Conquest unit. We're days away from her initial release, and yeah, it's going to be fun. Got Dagger, TJ, Sasha, Aisha, and Fatal with me. Gentlemen, how's it going today?
Going pretty good, Tess.
All right,
I'm excited. I locked my stuff in for CX2, so I'm a happy camper.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I
Dagger?
have not nice things to say to a lot of people. You guys are not any of those people.
Okay.
Yes,
That's
Don't
our
know those people.
victory.
Overwhelming. All right, well, let's get right into the kit here. Jocasta New, alignment light side, categories Attacker, Galactic Republic, Jedi, and Jedi Vanguard. Key attributes Conquest Lifter for the legendary unit coming in the next era, the Mace Windu. Don't let her librarian title fool you. She wields a powerful lightsaber fueled rifle. Transforms from using the lightsaber to using the rifle. New Jedi Vanguard faction tag. Strategy tips. Utilize Jedi Vanguard allies to help Jocasta Nu transform into Jocasta Nu rifle as quickly as possible. It belongs in a museum, will increase Siphon for her My Turn ability, so time those up for maximum efficiency. Alright. Well, a whole bunch of FAQ on this. Alright, abilities. Let's go to the uniques first. What?
But before we get into the kit, I just want to let everyone know there's no chance we get to Jocasta New from the event.
There's no chance we get
he's
Jocasta Nu
referencing. He's
before
talking
what?
about that battle, the
There's
turret
no
battle
way
or
our
whatever.
Is that the
Jocasta
same one?
there's
Yeah.
no way our
Yeah.
Jocasta New one shots
Yeah,
Lord Vader.
it's definitely not going to be what you would see there.
Well, also, you have like the world's worst Lord Vader in that event. I don't even know what's up with that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Also,
You have
I
the most amazing characters.
Yeah, they took Tash's mods for it, so I don't know what's going on.
I will possibly caution do the first unique and then the base abilities in the second unique, because the second unique is kind of
Insane.
well, it's after the basic ability or the main abilities.
It'll make the most
You,
sense.
you
after
use the main
everything
abilities
else.
first, and then the stuff in the second unique.
Okay.
He's saying read them in that order.
All right, so we'll do it that way. We'll do the unique. We'll go through the other abilities, then do unique 2 last. All right.
It's the chronological order.
Sure.
The prequels before the OT.
All right, I see what we're doing here. All right, unique 1. Jedi Archivist, Zeta plus Omicron. Final text. Jocasta Nu has plus 25% max protection, increased to 50% if all allies are Jedi Vanguard at the start of battle, and is immune to protection disruption and can't be revived. At the start of her turn, inflict tenacity down until the end of her turn against the last enemy to inflict a debuff on her. If this is the second time this has occurred on the same enemy in this encounter, and she is Jocasta Nu rifle, they are also exposed. Inflict defense down until the end of her turn against the last enemy to damage her. If this is the second time this has occurred on the same enemy in this encounter, and she is Jocasta Nu rifle, they are also inflicted with vulnerable. Whenever she attacks an exposed enemy, she recovers 20% protection. Whenever she recovers protection, gain 10% offense stacking for the rest of the encounter. So that sounds kind of nuts. Whenever she or an enemy gains foresight, dispel it, she gains deflective ward, which can't be dispelled until she receives damage, recovers 20% protection, and Whenever she or an enemy gains foresight, dispel it. She gains deflective ward, which can't be dispelled until she receives damage, recovers 20% protection, and gains 20% turn meter once per turn. Whenever a Jedi Vanguard ally uses a special ability, reduce the cooldown of It Does Not Exist by 1. While My Turn is on cooldown, It Belongs in a Museum inflicts burning on the enemy for 1 turn. Holy crap, this is... The first time Jocasta Nu would be reduced to 1% health, and she is Jocasta Nu rifle. She dispels all debuffs on herself, recovers 100% health, gains damage immunity for 1 turn, which can't be dispelled, and takes a bonus turn. During this bonus turn, she must use special ability, It's Up to You Now, then is defeated, which can't be prevented. If any enemy, which can't be prevented if any enemy survives. Okay. Yeah. At the start of the encounter, if she has used It's Up to You Now, she is defeated. So, yeah, if you're using this in a multi-wave, TB kind of sense. However, while in Grand Arenas, here's the Omicron, Jocasta Nu has plus 100% counter chance and is immune to ability block. If all allies are Jedi Vanguard, whenever they use an ability, reduce the cooldown of It Does Not Exist by 1. Whenever she is stunned, gain Deflective Ward, which can't be dispelled until she receives damage. What is that? Deflective Ward Swag.
It's from
yeah.
Ahsoka's
Given
ult.
by Ahsoka.
Does anyone else feel like that King of the Hill meme where CG just put this kit up to the window and then somebody walks by and says, "Man, that'd be really cool if they could read."
It is a lot. Where is Deflective
Read.
Ward
That's got
defined?
75 if-then scenarios just in the one unique.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, I have to imagine this plays easier than it reads, but I have no
There,
fucking clue what
Deflective
he
Ward.
does. Like,
Find it.
Cass just read it. I read it before this, and I
Yeah.
just read it again. I have no idea what. I mean, like, I
They
know
just
what it
started
does by
picking-
word.
they just
but
started
good
picking it up.
lord.
Yeah, we've seen this kind of thing before, where it's just tons and tons of conditionals. We'll make it. But anyway, Deflective Ward, from Ahsoka's kit, so it's gonna reduce damage. Here you see, damage received is reduced to 1, and then doesn't Deflective Ward mature into Deflective Target?
No, deflected target shouldn't be involved here. It's just they're taking
Just-
the ward part of
Okay.
Ahsoka's design space and
Okay.
co-opting it here as part of their faction identity.
Okay, sounds good. All right, well, we'll follow your recommendation then and move up to the basic next. By the book, Zeta plus Omicron. Final text, deals special damage to target enemy. If they had defense down or tenacity down, which her unique is handing out passively, inflict that debuff on all enemies for 1 turn. Gain critical damage up for 1 turn. Nice. Is this pointing towards your favorite build, Fatal? Crit damage thing? For the special damage dealer?
Well, I'll talk about it at the end, but
Sure,
I
yeah, we'll
really
get
feel
there,
like there's
but-
there's 2, maybe 3 directions you can take her, and I think they really kind of leave the path open.
Okay, all right. Let's talk about Special 1. Cooldown of 4. Zeta plus Omicron. Final text. If all allies are Jedi Vanguard, dispel all buffs on all enemies. Deal special damage to target enemy. Gain speed up for 1 turn and reduce the cooldown of It Does Not Exist by 10. Okay. Special 2. It Does Not Exist. Cooldown of 20. Final text. Gain 50% critical chance, critical damage, and 5 siphon for the rest of the battle, and 100% speed and tenacity for 1 turn. Daze all enemies for 1 turn. Transform into Jocasta Nu Rifle. This ability starts on cooldown, can only be used once per battle, and can't be evaded or resisted. This ability can only be used if all allies are Jedi Vanguard and both By the Book and Quiet are tier 6 or above. So, yeah, I'm assuming that that's what's getting defined by Unique 2. Because we have no idea what that means, right?
Basically, she's transforming into a different character after she uses that, and that is the Unique 2.
But what is the tier 6 mean? This is like this doesn't mean like the leveled ability rank, right?
It literally just means the ability level.
Yeah.
Oh.
You
well, that's
can't go
easy.
low with the abilities. There's just one of the conditions they'll put in.
Okay, whatever.
They're just covering their ass.
Okay,
basically.
Right.
all right. Sounds good. All right,
Yeah,
Unique
basically
2.
what they're saying is they see a world where not leveling up these abilities may be of some benefit, and they're telling you to go fuck yourself.
Dig it. Makes sense. All right, Unique 2, Chief Librarian. When Jocasta Nu transforms, she loses the abilities By the Book, Quiet, and It Does Not Exist, and gains 3 new abilities. Basic becomes It Belongs in a Museum. Deal special damage to target enemy. If they had defense down or tenacity down, inflict that debuff on all enemies for 1 turn. Gain critical damage up for 1 turn. Zeta upgrade. While she is Jocasta new rifle, if they had defense down, expose, or tenacity down, inflict that debuff on all enemies for 1 turn, and she gains the opposite buff for 1 turn. So what's that going to be? Defense up. What's the opposite of expose? Tenacity up. I don't know. Anyway, that like a expose opposite would be like a protection up, something like that.
Think GK. Think you flip.
Yeah, I'm just wondering what expose flips into.
It might not flip
Is
into
it
anything.
force?
Yeah.
I think they.
It may not.
I think they
I
even say
think
it in the
it's-
FAQ.
Okay.
Yeah, I think
Okay.
it's just any debuff that would flip to something as a
Yeah,
positive. The
makes
downs
sense.
to the ups idea.
Well, it's if they had defense down, expose, or tenacity down, inflict that debuff on all enemies for 1 turn, and she gains the opposite buff for 1 turn. So it will only be opposite of those debuffs, right? Just those. So yeah. If they had vulnerable, deal additional damage based on 10% of her max protection, then recover 25% protection. Gain 5 siphon until the end of the encounter. With the Omicron applied, while in Grand Arenas and she is Jocasta new rifle, on her turn, grant each Jedi Vanguard ally every dispellable buff she has for 1 turn. So, okay, so that Omicron upgrade was the last part describing her juiced up basic. So, neat. Okay, her first special becomes My Turn. If all allies are Jedi Vanguard, dispel all buffs on all enemies. Deal special damage to target enemy. Gain speed up for 1 turn. So this first clause is always the same first clause from the base skill. Zeta upgrade. While she is Jocasta new rifle, deal bonus true damage equal to 100% of her current protection to target enemy, which can't be evaded. Then lose all current protection. Jocasta new siphons max protection from the target enemy, which can't be resisted. If the target enemy is defeated by this ability, gain max protection equal to the target enemy's max protection. Gain 100% bonus protection for 1 turn. The Omicron applied while in Grand Arenas if all allies are Jedi Vanguard and she is Jocasta new rifle. Dispel all debuffs on all allies. Set the target enemy's max health to 65, excluding Galactic Legends and raid bosses, until the start of their turn. Wow. Okay. And then her second special is replaced by It's Up to You Now. Deal special damage equal to 50% of Jocasta's max protection to all enemies. If any enemies are defeated, Jedi Vanguard allies recover 100% health and protection, and all enemies are breached for 2 turns, which can't be evaded or resisted. Okay, so I guess this is... Yeah. What? Oh, this is defining these, giving them their own write-up? Okay, yeah. It's just giving its own expansion for what I just read out. So that's the whole kit. I kind of have a better sense of it now having read through, but I guess we want to start off with the immediate first interest for everybody watching the videos. How are we thinking to mod this character? And you said you had 3 ideas rattling around?
Yeah, I would actually maybe 3 was a little bit out of step. I was maybe see is more predominantly 2. Okay. So basically, we haven't seen the rest of her intended squad, of course. So right now we're kind of just chilling in Keller and Beckland, and I will call out right off the bat that her first unique basically screams Keller and Beck. You have benefits for regenerating protection. You've got benefits for gathering foresight, which happens off as basic. And specifically, the one thing that I will shout out if you're running Keller and Beck is try to position your team order for lowest damage first. Because Galaxy Hero rules are typically that you have to actually generate, you have to have taken damage, and then you have to have healed the protection. So, like, if you're sitting at 100% protection and you get the regen, she's not going to ramp, right? So, like, if you've got like a Barris front row or something, and you know that like Barris front row hits before Jocasta, you definitely want to make sure that you're like doing the least damage first, and then like you do the big hits at the end for the most healing. But you know, she clearly screams at least 3 protection primaries. I think the interesting distinction for right now is I might not go damage on her at all. I might actually just try 3 defense set 4 protection primary. Like Keller and Beck's lead, you get like 50% defense, 50% tenacity, but it feels kind of very every man for himself. And if you look at Jocasta's kit, I would say that she's a little bit like Ezra in that respect, where she's not really juicing the team's functionality at all. It's more so just rules modifiers. And then, yeah, especially, you know, she's got the set target enemies max health to 65 type functionality that gives you sort of a hard win condition as well. But yeah, like, you know, we see a ton of free crit chance, free crit damage, ramping offense. It's clear that if she wants to have a damage identity, I think that's definitely on the table. But yeah, like speed even could be an option. But for right now, I think I'm going 3 defense at 4 protection primary just to, you know, we saw kind of in the events when you're fighting Jocasta, her nuke is based on her current protection. So in a weird way, the higher your armor is, the higher your damage becomes by mitigating that damage.
Well,
on your
also,
protection.
if the damage of at least that ability, I mean, to say nothing of the other attacks, is dependent on current protection, wouldn't that increase the value of having a crit damage triangle for when you're, you know, at a lower spike of current protection?
Yeah, I mean, like, you know, if you're an enterprising gas player from back in the day, like a lot of people have a crit damage triangle with like a 10% protection secondary or whatever. Yeah, that should probably hits her as well. But like, I don't think there's a right or wrong answer here. Is kind of what I'm going for. Like,
Yeah.
I see this very much as like a styles sort of thing, where like, yeah, Speed Jocasta probably feels good, right? It gets you to ult faster, and then you start belting up the 65 health shit faster. Like defense protection probably feels good just to play for nuke. Damage plays for ramp. Yeah, cool character.
Mm-hmm. All right. All right. So, yeah, mostly a defense is what you're thinking at first, especially under Caloran. Anything could change depending on, you know, what Mace ends up looking like. But as far as early notes, I appreciate that. How about the rest of you guys? What are you guys thinking? Because, I mean, certainly I agree with the 3 protection primaries. Yeah, I'm really curious about whether or not crit damage triangle is going to make sense. As far as set types, um, I guess defense makes a lot of sense because she needs to be alive for a long time. Obviously, the greed in my heart craves the thought of crit damage set, considering that, you know, we're getting just so much free crit chance. We'll have crit damage up. Maybe, you know, we'll have the crit damage triangle. Even so, I could see running the crit damage set still with a protection triangle. I'd have to see what kind of secondaries would be involved. What do you guys think?
Well, let me ask you this, Task. What do you always say when you look at modding a character? What's always your first thought?
Yeah, you got to see what the kit says and then the leadership that you're under.
Well, no. I mean, like from a overall like philosophy, you say give a character things they don't give themselves.
Oh yeah, sure.
My very first thought process on this is a speed set with at least 2 prot primary, because I think at least in 3s before we get the whole kit, you're going to want her to cycle her turns, especially for the last 2 weeks of 3v3. She's going to take more turns. So I think in 5s you might mod her differently, and once we get more of her team, it'll change. But I think initially, I honestly just probably want her in like a really, really fast speed set, because Kelleran's in like this slow tanky set, and whoever you put as the third on the team is going to be kind of doo doo, because like there's a huge drop off after those 2 with that tag. Maybe Xeris.
It's definitely Zarius, I think.
Yeah. But the point I'm trying to make is I think making her fast, because I think she'll have enough protection on the team in 3v3 specifically, where having her cycle her turns to actually get to her ult is going to be more important.
So that's going
So
to
I think a lot of people are just going to post this on defense.
put some burden on or Xeris modding then, because if you know, if we're following what Fatal's saying, then we would want Jocasta to be last of the 3. Yeah.
Oh, what I was saying with that, I'm more talking in 5v5, like literal, like when you're placing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 characters. Like the order that the Keller and Beck mass assist causes people to hit, you would want your weakest hits to land before your like attackers lands.
Okay.
So like even as we move forward in a mace, it's something to keep in mind.
All right.
Yeah, so I'm thinking specifically of this the trio you're going to run in 3v3 for the last 2 weeks. I think Fatal's probably right with the bulk build in 5s for sure, because she'll be much easier to target or focus down.
They are very
yeah.
particular about like they even call it on the FAQ like if you try to cheese this shit out with like Qui-Gon lead, she will just fucking die. Like right?
Yeah.
She has an anti-savior mechanic. She's like a Magna Guard. The moment that she touches one, it doesn't matter if she technically got out on a technicality. It's
Right.
farewell.
Yeah.
Makes
Yeah,
sense.
and that's kind of, I mean, like I think that I think the mod is going to change. But yeah, my first thought is to give her what she doesn't give herself, which is the ability to cycle turns as fast as possible, because there'll be less people reducing the cooldown of her transform, because the transform gets reduced when other people use specials, right? That's one of the conditions.
Crucially, with the GAC Omicron, it cycles when any Vanguard uses any ability, including out of turn. So Keller and Beck mass gives you massive cycling. Keller and Beck has counterattacks. She gets 100% counter chance with that Omicron. So again, like you're very happy to see her get attacked, ironically, and as long as like she's not, fully prevented from playing the video game. As long as you get to counterattack, it pushes your goals.
And then once she goes Super Saiyan, having her in speed will cycle those turns faster.
Yeah.
So I think for 3v3 that'd be my initial thoughts, but yeah, that's all I got.
I like it.
I would wonder, because I agree with it being Beck, right? I think that's pretty clear and evident of what it's going to be. The same for the 3. I would say it's nice that we have a 25% TM DC build with protection naturally built in there. So if you've got characters that'll have that with it, so make it pretty simple as well. The question with the Beck and the unique of his initiative, right? So somebody goes to 1, and then there's the revive mechanic tied in with her revive mechanic.
Well, specifically Savior, because that's the one thing she can't be is revived.
That's what I'm talking about, right? When you look at Beck, whenever the 1 gets reduced down, they get brought back up. So how all of that to play a part with her setup?
Oh yeah. So how does that second win work? Is that on a per character basis or just the first ally?
It should be once per. It's just the first ally.
The first one.
And then
okay. Well, as she would be a high priority target, that means that she gets saved twice. Then.
I'm like trying to pull up the kit now. I think it's only on the leader, and then B, it wouldn't save her. I don't think it would still be like
that's why I'm asking, right? Is with that combination.
Mm-hmm.
We've had some weird situations, like I know Captain Rex with 5s has some janky interactions.
Yeah,
but I would say Magna Guard seems like the more appropriate precedent to look at, because 5s is like an end of turn check, and Rex or Captain Rex, like the reactive healing is kind of cheating it out of that. But Magna Guard is just straight up like, did I count to 1? Yes, fucking see ya. So I don't think. Also, I'm trying to find that shit.
No, I'm seeing it. You're correct. The savior, the second wind is
second wind is leader only.
Leader
yeah.
only. You're right. Yeah. So it's just the one savior for her, but still okay. Fair enough. Good note.
At least they did it that way. At least they exploited the cheese of like they're doing the same thing with Great Mothers, right? They're ensuring that the game's going to be honest. You know what you're getting. You're not going to be able to exploit that with any kind of cheese mechanic to offset that. So it's I respect CG for implementing something on what I would call a strong character.
Fair. Yeah, Sasha, I don't know if we got any thoughts from you on this character, but what do you got? What do you think?
We've covered a lot of the ground, but one of the things that I was just looking for, and I think a lot of players are in the spot where at some point there was this cost sunk into a Lumi GAC Ami that is never fully delivered. And, on sort of the first read of Jocasta News Kit, particularly with the stacking offense that comes with any recovery of protection. And the Lumi GAC Ami, it's not only a hot that triggers every time, but that when it triggers, and this isn't dependent on the healing working, but it regens both protection and health. And unlike some of the protection recovery, like for example the common level 6 saying whatever amount of health that you recover protection, but you must actually have been below 100% health. I don't see that in the Lumi one. So that sounded interesting as like a potential savior of relevance for Lumi's Ami, but I don't see that happening in threes just because at least my impression is Barris is probably like one, we're really light on viable leaders, and Keller and Beck is, for the reasons we've covered, the most likely option. And Barris is tough to supplant as an option there for survivability. But I could see in fives, this is me grasping at it, that there may be maybe a spot for Luminara. At least until, or maybe even because of the arrival of Mace Windu at some point. But that was one just sort of angle that, like a regular, and that's not, for example, that is not. It requires that character to have a turn come around and have the heal over time from Lumi heal. The heal every single time any of them trigger, and so it's going regularly. So there's a shot at regular regen of protection for
Don't
Jocasta
break
and
my heart, haunting me with the idea that
Sorry, yeah.
placed Lumi Omicron could ever be of value.
Yeah, we'll see.
I
Well,
dare.
everyone just got their Omicron stimulus.
Sorry.
The Omicron stimulus package was rolled out, so
yeah, they didn't
everyone's
refund me that one. I'll tell you
sitting in
that.
riches.
Well, any other thoughts you wanted to throw in on this one, guys? We've done a pretty good breakdown here. I've got some good ideas for how I'm going to set her up, but any last comments here from all of you?
I think it just looking at it and going through everything like that, I think it gives you a pretty good idea of what we're going to expect when we get new Mace. The tie into that, Beck could still very well be on the team and how it's going to play out. But it seems that the way they're trying to push your buffs and what they're trying to, I actually think you could be right, Sasha, in the 5 scenario. Because obviously, when we get new Mace, right? That's the only reason I'm going to that is because we're talking where they're at. They're pushing a lot of the buffs, and it feels very similar. Looking at like this is a natural with Beck, and then we look at Mace's kit with the Shadow Point, and what they're gonna do. It kind of gives an extension of what we might see on the overall.
And I think that's completely right. That the long term future of that of Jocasta's team is going to have Kelleran as an ally. I think, if for no other reason than this mass assist, refilling her protection and whatnot, that's going to be worthwhile. That's going to be featured. I appreciate that. Anything else from you guys? Okay. Well, then that about wraps this one up. You're seeing this here on YouTube. Please give it a like. Hit subscribe on the channel if you want to see more. And until next time, it's been real. It's been awesome. It's been real awesome. Take care.